Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and lows from around world football this weekend. I'm joined by Chris Hamill for football news with a side of northern cynicism. How are you, mate?
I'm wonderful.
Where do we
How
start?
are you? It's almost like we haven't just spent the previous hour shooting Euro Roundup.
We have done that.
In an hour's time, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah, we're jumping straight in with our first winners, and this is Manchester United, who beat Swansea 4-0 at the Liberty Stadium. Now, Pato, you might be interested to know this is the first time
Probably
Manchester United have scored 8 goals in their opening 2 league games since 1907, the year of John Babb's birth. The last team to do that was Chelsea in 2010-2011, slightly earlier, the year of Zach's birth. Anyway, it was 1-0 until the 80th minute before United bought on Fellaini. You know, hashtag Fellaini effect. And they scored, subsequently scored 3 in 3 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, Mkhitaryan, the Armenian, is on fire too. That's 4 assists in 2 games. Prior to that, he only managed 1 in the last season in its entirety.
Wow.
But Swansea were pretty tragic on the day, weren't they? Mustering only 1 shot on target. Phil Jones, according to Joseph, was man of the match as well, with 3 interceptions, 10 clearances, a 100% tackle success rate, a 75% aerial duel. It's the man of 1,000 faces, putting in a good shift.
If you had 1,000 faces, though, would you pick that one that Phil Jones has?
Absolutely not.
I probably wouldn't. I actually thought that Man United's defence had some shaky moments. There was a point where Tammy Abraham got a free header from about 8 yards out. There's nobody anywhere near him. There was a corner that was whipped through the box and 3 Swansea players missed it by inches. But
Fine margins.
the midfield was very, very exciting. Now, Paul Pogba, with Nemanja Matic behind him, is getting so much more freedom. And it's really showing. I mean, Matic was phenomenal in this game. He had the most touches, he had 105, he had 91% pass accuracy, the highest of any player in the game. 6 tackles and interceptions combined. Pogba has now got 2 goals and 2 assists in the last 2 games. Whereas he's actually scored 3 in 3 league games, if you include the last game of last season. So it looks like he's starting to find his feet in attack.
Yeah.
Last season he got 4 assists and 5 goals in 30 starts. So he's on track to beat that by about mid-September at the moment. Martial has 2 goals and an assist in 22 minutes of football.
Crazy.
22 minutes
Crazy.
of
Do you think
football.
he should start over Rashford?
Yes, I do. I think he's got a much higher ceiling than Rashford. But on the other hand, if he keeps coming on and scoring them vital goals, it's one of those things where people say, well, he's earned to start. But on the other hand, it's working for him. It's like Giroud at Arsenal. You know, you think, well, if he does well as a sub, maybe you should keep him as a
It's
sub.
not a title you really want to inherit, though, is it?
It's
Super
not.
sub.
And with Martial as well, you look at him, Giroud's 30, Martial's 22, and could be amazing if he gets a shot. But that's what we want to know from you, basically. We've been debating this for weeks now, so we want to know who should start, Rashford or Martial for Man United. Let us know in the poll just up there.
Our first losers are the Gooners, Patrice. Unfortunate for you, Arsenal fan. Yes, as they lost 1-0 away from home at the Bet365 Stadium to a Hesse-inspired Stoke.
Yeah, it was a bit of a rough one for the Gunners. Now, they truly dominated this game, 77% of the possession. That's actually their highest amount in a Premier League game since 2003-04, of course, when they won the season unbeaten. 18 shots to 11, 6 on target to 4, completed 730 passes to Stoke's 200.
Ugly scenes.
So their attack was really dominant, but they could not put the ball in the back of the net, except one time when they did, and Alexandre Lacazette was offside. Centimetres, but I think it was a pretty clear offside when we saw it back. So it was a bit rough though with the penalties. Of course, Mame Biram Diouf absolutely hacked down Hector Bellerin, though I think he slips in the process. But anyway, Stoke did manage to get the 3 points, and Arsenal have now registered just 1 clean sheet in their last 9 top-flight away games. They failed to win their opening 2 games of the season every year since 2009-10. They've now lost away to Stoke 6 times in all competitions. They've only lost to Man United and Chelsea more in away games.
That's an incredible start.
Absolutely mental. But like I say, I do think this one was a bit of a tough beat. Kind of the opposite of the end of last season when Arsenal were playing terribly and winning. In this game, Arsenal played better than their opponent and lost.
Yeah, and you'd rather have it that way around, wouldn't you? Well, ultimately at the start of the season anyway. You don't be grinding out victories at this point. But Yeah, as I said, Jesse Rodriguez scored the winner. He was the clutch man for Stoke. They signed him recently on loan from PSG for the season, meaning they now have the most Champions League winners in their squad in the entirety of the Premier League. Wow. That's Bojan, Fletcher, Shaqiri and Afellay. But of those lot, when you combine their minutes in Champions League finals, it amounts to an impressive 1. Sarcasm. So yeah.
Not great.
Hesse anyway, 3 shots on the night, 2 on target, an 87% pass completion rate, 100% dribble success rate, don't know how many attempted, not down on my sheet, and of course the winning goal. But Hesse is the 3rd player to score on his Premier League debut for Stoke. This is a crowd pleaser of a stat, after Ricardo Fuller and Michael Kiteley.
Oh,
yeah.
Huge names.
Our attention rate just went through the floor. Anyway, Berahino provided an assist for the first time in 57 Premier League appearances. Poor that, but last assisting someone in April 2015 for West Brom against QPR. So Saido Berahino, you need to pull your finger out, but it was a good start against the Gooners. And only 5 teams have won a Premier League game with that little possession. Stoke
really?
Obviously having 23%, as you said, Arsenal had 77%. But yeah, Jack Butland to thank. He made a whopping 6 saves on the night. That's twice that of Petr Cech. And annoying for me because he's not in my dream team, but he is in George's.
Frustrating for everyone then.
And if you've not joined our fantasy football dream team at current, then you are welcome to do so. We give out prizes on a weekly basis, so it doesn't matter what you join. Look at the description below.
Plugs.
All the plugs.
At Isaac Ibrahim 5 has our next winner. He says Chelsea should be in after their 2-1 victory over Spurs. What happened here, Chris?
Well, personnel-wise, they were always up against it, weren't they? Lacking Fabregas, lacking a Cahill, obviously sold Matic, but historically, the form books were on Chelsea's side. That's the 2nd time they've beaten Spurs at Wembley this year, and they've now lost just 2 of their last 17 meetings with the Lily Whites. So for now, at the very least, Pochettino's men will be glad to see the back of him. But it was a super clinical performance from Conte's men. They had 2 shots on target on the day, scoring both of them off. Obviously, Alonso scored a double, opening his account with that stunning free kick, reminiscent of the one against Bournemouth last season. But yet, the defensive performance wasn't bad either, was it? They were penned back for much of the game. In fact, Chelsea sent 22% of their passes long.
Wow.
Haven't got a point of reference, but that sounds like a lot.
It does sound like a lot.
At the very least. But yeah, the makeshift back line of Rudiger, Christensen and Azpilicueta just about did enough, didn't they? Between them, they won just 15% of their tackles apparently, which sounds awfully low. Made 3 interceptions, only 3 interceptions, but completed 21 clearances. So it was a gutsy Rose Z approach from Chelsea. But yeah, Christensen was a lot more composed than I was prepared to give him credit for. Obviously had a lot of first team experience in Germany, but his Chelsea career is still in its infancy. Now, he completed 100% of his passes last night, 67% of his aerial duels, 1 interception, 4 blocks, and 9 clearances. So the guy was absolutely all over the place. But yeah, Alonso, star of the show, probably Chelsea's only outlet, maybe barring Willian, who sprung to life when he knew he was going to be substituted, didn't he? And Alonso, check this out, he has 7 Premier League goals this calendar year. Only 12 other players have scored more.
That's mental.
That is mental.
That genuinely is amazing. And so is Tottenham's record at Wembley. When you think that last season at White Hart Lane, 19 games, 17 wins, 2 draws, but their record at Wembley, 1-2, drawn 1, lost 8.
Ooh.
That's horrendous. And their 1 win was against CSKA last season. The other that they've had at Wembley since it was rebuilt was in the 2008 League Cup final.
Yeah, they need to shake this hoodoo quickly, don't they?
And let me hit you with this. This is
Please
Mauricio Pochettino's first home loss in a London derby. A lot of qualifiers there. But when you consider that they face West Ham, Arsenal, Chelsea, all these teams at home, this is the first time they've lost one of them.
That's incredible. Please do go on and tell me more brilliant facts.
I will do. Of course, they only dropped 4 points at home last season. They've already dropped 3 this year. But the thing is, they were on top for much of the game. They struggled to create clear-cut chances, but they had 18 shots to 9. They had 6 on target to 2. They had 14 corners to Chelsea's 3. Now, that kind of shows you how much they were camped in the Chelsea final third. But of course, they couldn't put away any of those chances. Harry Kane leads the league in shots taken with 14 and yet still hasn't scored.
How
in
unfortunate
August.
has he been though?
Well, it's
hit the post in both games.
Well, exactly. I mean, like, I don't believe, unlike Joe, that there's some weird voodoo that means Harry Kane can't score in August. But it's a bit of a tough beat for Spurs. Lloris has got to look at himself for Alonso's second goal. It goes straight through him. It's like the molecules of the ball have just gone straight through Hugo Lloris. He had no idea what was going on. And after Dyer was substituted, the defence looked uncharacteristically shaky. But we think that Spurs will probably recover. We don't know what to make of Chelsea yet. What do you guys think? Give us your thoughts. You know where. Comments below.
Our next losers are West Ham.
They went away to Southampton and lost 3-2. And more importantly, they broke a pretty rough streak for Southampton. They hadn't scored a home goal in 576 minutes of football, and yet they bagged three here. They've actually had 43 shots against Swansea and West Ham combined, and finally got some of them in the back of the net. Yeah. Gabbiadini, first goal for 9 hours and 15 minutes at home too. There are more goals in this match than in Saints' last 5 home games combined. That's bananas.
This is bad reading if you're a Saints fan.
It's really tragic, isn't it? And Marco Arnautovic, who got himself sent off in this game, rumoured to be on 140k a week, currently more than Alexis Sanchez earns at Arsenal. Not great. A nasty elbow. Joe's called it vile because Joe writes things in the manner of a Daily Star headline writer.
Yeah.
But it was a red card and it's not great, and it ultimately cost them the points.
It did. Yes, and it doesn't exactly help when your new signing, star signing that is, according to some, Joseph Hart, isn't exactly at the races. He was a little bit soft for the first goal, and he's now conceded 14 Premier League goals in his last 5 appearances. He's also conceded 17 goals from the last 27 shots he's conceded on target. That covers both the Premier League and the Serie A. Obviously, Torino are a little bit porous, weren't they? So we maybe let him off there, but he needs to pick up some form in the English Premier League. He also tried a bit of gamesmanship for Austin's dramatic last-minute penalty, but it failed, didn't it? Noble went up to Austin and said, listen, Joe Hart knows where you're going. Not going to try a Cockney accent. Almost braved it then.
Good.
I bailed. But Charlie Austin said, thank you very much. I'll change direction then, and it proved successful. But at least Chicharito is paying dividends for West Ham, and he's also on 140k a week. So you'd want a few goals for that, and he's now got 2 in 2 thanks to his double. He drew them level, both poachers' finishes, and all 39 of his finishes in the Premier League have come inside the box. So West Ham fans, it looks like Chicharito is going to be, well, hopefully a good signing, but the others are really lagging. What do you think to them? Let us know in the comments below.
Our final winner of the week, Neymar. Predictable. Chris, what did he do?
Yeah, even after PSG played 20 minutes with 10 men after Verratti sending off, they still ran out 6-2 winners because Neymar just decided he was going to be twice the player to plug that hole. Now, the Brazilian scored 2 and assisted 2 in a Messi-like performance, bringing him to 3 goals and 3 assists so far in Paris. That's a quarter of his output already than he got for Barcelona last season. And he becomes the first player to score 2 on his debut for PSG since Florian Maurice in 1997. Oh, Maurice. And his stats read as follows: 6 shots, 3 on target, 14 dribbles completed. That is mental. And yeah, where am I? I lost my place. And 7 chances created. The record for Ligue 1 in a single season, record goals that is 44. And that was Josip Skoblar in 1971 for Marseille. The record amount of assists is 18, set by Angel Di Maria in the 15-16 season. Pato, what are the odds that Neymar breaks both of these this season?
The assists one looks very gettable, doesn't it? And you'd have thought if Cavani spends a little bit of time on the sidelines and Neymar gets a run through the middle instead of out on the left, then it could be really quite interesting. But he gave a little bit of an insight as well into his decision to leave Barcelona after the match. He said of the Barcelona board, I'm disappointed with them. I spent 4 years there and was very happy, but not with them. For me, they shouldn't be in charge of Barca. Barca deserve much better, and everyone knows this.
Now, is he just flogging is he flogging an already dead horse there?
Well, I mean, are they going to get ousted? Like, you think there's a lot of guys at Barcelona who are pretty comfortable. Like, the appointment of Valverde sort of looks like an appointment that's not going to trouble anyone. He's not really going to challenge the board, is he?
But they re-elected Bartomeu in 2015, right?
They did re-elect Bartomeu, but it's always him and Laporte. It's just the same few people that they go round and round and round. There's never a real change at the top. Whereas on the other hand, of course, you look at PSG, since 2011, they've been completely rejuvenated. And in this game, they absolutely battered Pascal Duprax's Toulouse. They had 25 shots to Toulouse's 7, 15 on target to Toulouse's 1. In fact, the only reason Toulouse got 2 goals is because Thiago Silva scored an own goal, while the other one came from Bournemouth loanee Max Gradel. PSG's other strikes came from Rabiot, Cavani, Pastore, and that incredible volley from a corner from Layvin Kurzawa. Obviously, the delivery from Neymar, it's absolutely unbelievable. And Neymar is going to put up new numbers this season. We're going to have to invent new figures for the things he's doing.
He's also making other players better, isn't he? That interplay with Rabiot was fantastic for Rabiot's goal, and Verratti looks ecstatic to be there all of a sudden.
Sure.
Now that he has the likes of Neymar playing in his team.
On the other hand, he makes other players quite a lot worse. So, for instance, he rainbowed a defender, and that guy is probably never going to be able to look his kids in the face again.
Yeah, he's trolling, isn't he?
Yeah, so it's been a rough week for Toulouse, but an amazing week for Neymar. Expect him to have another 36 of those over the rest of this season.
Yeah. We stay in France for our final losers, and oh mon Dieu, Pato, what happened to Lyon after they took a 3-1 lead?
Well, actually, they took a 2-0 lead, then they took a 3-1 lead, but they still ended up with just 1 point after Bordeaux scored in the 88th minute and the 91st minute to rescue a draw. Now, in the first 23 minutes, they were 2-0 up, and it meant that they never really exerted themselves in the game. And as a result, Bordeaux outshot them 16-8 with 6 on target to 5. Fekir, Tete and Traoré all scored for Les Gants, while Malcolm, who got 2, and Lucas Lerage got the goals for the visitors. Now, the person I want to highlight, because I know you're going to go on and talk about the headline makers, but I want to talk about Bertrand Traoré, who of course joined them from Chelsea this window for about 18 mil. He got 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal, completed 2 dribbles, 3 aerial duels, and won 4 tackles and made 5 interceptions. And this is a kind of right winger, like attacking midfielder, striker, hybrid. He can play all those roles.
Yeah.
That's truly impressive.
Yeah, I was trying to convince Joe that this was an outstanding signing for Lyon.
Yes.
Joe, following the Europa League final, is insistent he's a terrible player. He can be scatty, he can be inconsistent, but he has this in his locker, doesn't he?
He's very young.
He puts himself about tremendously. He is very young, yes. But despite that, Fekir and Malcolm will get all the headlines for the right reasons as well. Fekir scoring on his weak foot from 54 metres. There's no height in it either. It's an absolute heat-seeking missile.
It looks like it picks up, it goes a few yards and then suddenly takes off. Yeah. It's amazing.
And it's the longest Ligue 1 strike since 2013 when Sabir Khalifa scored a 64-metre effort against Nice. I might have to dig that out on YouTube. That sounds insane, 64 metres. But yes, while 20-year-old Malcolm hit a deflected goal from outside the box before a staggering 25-yard screamer in the dying embers of the game to save a point for Bordeaux.
It's so good.
And Malcolm, I've got to say, used to be an absolute FM legend. It's nice to see one of those boys finally
still only 20.
Come to a bit of fruition.
He's
only 20. He took it, a lovely bit of interplay as well for that final goal. Took it past one man. I thought he'd gone too far and he managed to put it top bins. But Lyon's attack looked very classy, don't they? I really hope they can put something together, something special together this season. Fekir, already 3 goals, 1 assist. Mariano, obviously got him from Real Madrid, 3 goals. Memphis, 1 goal, 2 assists. Traoré, 1 goal, opened his account with that beautiful free kick. And Memphis Depay now, Pato, the man who should probably have more of a consistent output than most of those guys, given his pedigree. Now has 8 assists in Ligue 1 in 2017, more than any other player. And that's despite a period, of bedding in.
That's mental. And when you think that the oldest guy in this attack, I think, is Fekir, who, has he even turned 24 yet?
I'm not sure. And he's had a couple of injury-hit seasons, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had that cruciate injury. It's really intimidating. Let's hope they pick up. So it would be exciting if there's a title race.
Now, will Lyon get a Champions League spot having just missed out last season? What do you think? Let us know in the comments for a change.
So that was this week's winners and losers, but who did we miss out and who would you have included? Let us know in the comments below. Chris, after this, people are going to have some free time. What should they do with it?
Well, they should head on over, mosey on over to EFD to watch the Euro roundup there, or maybe Stat Wars, the classic edition.
Is that what we're calling it?
Me versus you, yeah. Rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? And if you've seen all that, then why not go back and watch a few Stat Wars The Champions episodes, Every little helps.
getting to the knockouts now. Very exciting times. And as ever, guys, please do like and subscribe. Bye.